Widest music variety. And in the studio, we welcome Theresa Evans from Citizens Advice Bureau, North Canterbury. G'day, how are you?
Hello, I'm well, thank you.
Really nice to see you back in the studio today. So briefly, before you arrived, a little bit of history around Citizens Advice Bureau. It's been around for a really long time. I didn't realise it started on the eve of the Second World War.
Yes, yeah. We've been going in New Zealand we had our 50th anniversary 2 or 3 years ago, so we're into our 50s as an organisation now.
It's a good age, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. So I thought we'd start off with some reminders of what services do you offer as a community service with Citizens Advice Bureau, and you're the coordinator there.
Well, Citizens Advice is a help point for anyone needing assistance with pretty much anything. So whether it's providing information from the database, our own database, or putting the person in touch with the more specific help they need. And the service is free, it's confidential, and it offers independent information and advice about rights and the services in our community. And we've got an extensive intranet, which is an accurate database as much as we can make it, and particularly when the likes of Parliament's sitting and laws are enacted, they're updated, and that information is updated on, whether it's about tenancy or employment or whatever. As soon as we can get it updated on our website, we do.
Oh, that's great, because you mentioned was it last year that new website was released? Was it last year or the year before now? I can't remember.
It's probably 2 or 3 years now.
Gosh, yeah. And it's great, and an easy, quick way to be able to access that information as well.
That's right.
So what if we'd like to see and sit in front of someone, because it's easier sometimes to talk about things face to face, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we feel that working with people is one of our strengths, and it's one of the joys of being a CAB volunteer, and it's becoming more and more of a rarity these days that people are able to get help and advice from people in our own community even, and that's quite often with government departments, but not necessarily, not tarring all of them, and the reassurance by having human contact, that just shouldn't be underestimated, and nor should the number of people who can't use online services.
Oh, for sure.
For all kinds of reasons.
Yeah, and sometimes you just want to sit down with someone and, connect, because, it's so much easier to connect person to person, and you can see someone's facial expressions, and
That's right.
I guess as a volunteer, it means that you can also maybe read how they're feeling a little bit better than what you can over the phone.
Yes. Yeah, body language is an important asset, if you like, when people are face to face, because you can say something with your voice, but your body can actually convey a very different message.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Now, some extra support, even if a client has done some research. So, say they're thinking, I don't know, maybe of moving out of their rental property, and they haven't done that for a wee while, and they've done a little bit of investigation about, bonds and tenancy, but they need more information. How do you help support with that?
Well, we would go into our intranet, and we would look at those specific situations, and we can either print things off for the client, or we can talk things through with them. But so even in that situation, the client, as you've described, would have done some of the research themselves, but we're happy to talk about options with people and perhaps find even more information to support. And as we've just been talking about, it's helpful to talk things over, because it could be anything. It could be an action such as visiting a retailer about a faulty product, or how to get in touch with your gas or phone or power provider about a query on your bill. It can be neighbourhood problems, things like boundary fences, drainage, trees, dogs, also pigs, bees, cats, you name it.
Oh, wow.
Noise. It could be a problem with your tenant, or you could be the landlord, or you could be the tenant and you've got a problem with your landlord. Same employer-employee. It could be a bullying situation. It could be that you've got too many bills and not enough money.
Yeah, which a lot of people, I think, in that situation right
exactly.
now. Yeah.
So there's no judgment. We accept people as they are when they come in. We try and provide a warm, friendly, compassionate environment. We'll listen. We're trained to listen and to research, and our volunteers are a little bit older, and most of them have seen life. They've raised families, or they've been involved, and a lot of people that are attracted to CAB are former nurses and people who've been in
caring roles,
and they're bringing that same heart with them to work with a CAB client. So there's we'll laugh with you, and sometimes because it's tough, we might shed a tear or two. We've seen that before, and we've got a jug we can put that on and have a cup of
tea,
and just provide a listening ear if that's what's needed as well.
And that's what people want, because it's a pretty big step sometimes saying, hey, you know what, I need some help. Where do I start? And it can feel overwhelming. And to ask for help, you always, I think sometimes in the back of your head you go, a bit of judgment, but as you're saying, just taking that first step is pretty huge.
That's right, and we commend that. We recognise the courage that it takes, and we're seeing a range of people now. People after COVID who had been employed all their lives, who lost jobs and still haven't quite got themselves back to where they were, and just trying to negotiate a lot of the government departments or other agencies that they never thought in a million years that they would need to, and also clients who it's life for them to try and negotiate extra payments or support around how they live, all that sort of thing. So whatever situation a client's in, we're there to help.
For sure. And you've got some really cool clinics coming up as well too. I think, is it this week you've got some coming up?
Yep. So we have fortnightly clients, and we were talking about budgeting just before, not having enough money. So we've got a drop-in budgeting clinic. We've got one to help with employment. We've got local lawyers who come in to give legal assistance, and we've got an immigration advisor that will come in and help with visas and things. So just get in touch with us, find out when they're on. We can book you in, and we've also got some volunteers who are also justices of the peace, and they will provide that service when they're on duty. So again, just give us a call.
Fantastic.
We do things like helping people prepare CVs. We'll help with forms and applications. So if your reading's not so good, or comprehension, or you just get all of the words, think, oh my God, I don't know if I'm answering that correctly.
Too much.
So online and physical, we can help them write letters. We welcome migrants with anything.
Nice and easy. You make it easy, and that's the key thing, is you want it to be easy and comforting and a safe environment to ask any question, because no question is a silly question, is it?
That's right.
So true. Hey, very quickly, before we've run out of time, just very briefly, I thought maybe we could touch on the North Island Citizens Advice Bureaus. Must be a real struggle for them at the moment.
Yes, a number of them obviously on the east coast of the North Island, and on the west coast up, towards Muriwai and Piha and other areas. And Northland, a lot of them are either not open, or their phones have been redirected, or they're going onto our 0800 number. So we're getting inquiries from, we do anyway get them from around the country, but we're getting more around the Auckland flooding, for instance. We had a whole lot of inquiries about, people whose cars broke down in the middle of the flooded road, and they're being charged towing fees.
That doesn't seem right.
No, people whose landlords are just telling them to leave with no explanation or support or offer of bond back and that. And we've got people who've got absolutely nothing, so we just work through that with them. Sometimes we'll need to check with our Auckland people, but there's a portion on our website, I think it's available on the public one as well, where you can go in and it will tell you about payments that are available, civil defence, communications and that sort of thing. So again, for CAB, we try and be relevant and current, and if the information isn't there, we'll find it out for the client and we'll get back to them.
And thank you so much for coming in. A pleasure as always, Theresa. What's the contact number to get hold of you if we would like advice, or hey, even if we've got relatives in the North Island who maybe can't use a phone at the moment, and we've got some questions that we'd like to pass through and get answers? What's the number, please?
The number's 03 313 8822.
Lovely, wonderful, good as gold. And make sure you check out them on their website as well too, Citizens Advice Bureau.
Compass FM.